Why is LaMelo Ball not playing tonight against the Chicago Bulls? Major concerns on Hornets superstar linger, December 12th. The Charlotte Hornets enter their December 12th matchup against the Chicago Bulls facing a crushing setback, one that fans were hoping they wouldn't hear again this season. LaMelo Ball, the face of the franchise and the engine of everything the Hornets do offensively, has officially been ruled out for tonight's game. And while Hornets fans are unfortunately used to injury reports surrounding their young superstar, the latest update has brought a wave of renewed concern across the fanbase. The question echoing across social media, team circles, and NBA discussion shows is the same. Why isn't LaMelo Ball playing tonight, and what does this mean for the Hornets moving forward? The official reason listed on the Hornets injury report is Ball's ongoing recovery from his right ankle sprain, an injury he suffered earlier in the season. While the team initially expressed optimism that LaMelo was progressing ahead of schedule, tonight's absence is a reminder that the issue is far from resolved. The Hornets have emphasized that their priority is to avoid any setbacks, especially because this is not the first time Ball has dealt with ankle problems. In fact, the injury history is now forming a troubling pattern, one that has derailed his availability for multiple seasons. Even if tonight's decision is precautionary, the underlying concern is unavoidable. The Hornets cannot afford their franchise cornerstone to keep missing time. LaMelo had been ramping up his on-court activities, working through shooting drills, light lateral movement, and conditioning. But while the footage painted an encouraging picture, it's clear the medical staff isn't convinced he's ready for full-speed NBA play. Ankle injuries are deceptive. Players can feel 80 to 90% healthy but still lack the stability needed to absorb contact, stop suddenly, or explode off the dribble. LaMelo's game relies heavily on those movements, shiftiness, acceleration, and sudden changes of pace. If he returns even slightly too early, the risk of re-injury skyrockets, and Charlotte knows they cannot afford to lose him for months. So for tonight's matchup, the Hornets are playing it safe. Beyond the physical recovery, there is another layer to the concern: long-term durability. LaMelo Ball is only 23 years old, yet he has already missed significant time across 3 consecutive seasons due to lower body injuries, including multiple ankle sprains and the severe fracture from last year. For a rising superstar who plays with dynamic creativity, elite ball handling, and constant movement, recurring ankle injuries are especially alarming. The Hornets front office cannot afford to ignore the bigger picture. Their franchise player needs stability, consistency, and proper long-term care if they want to build a competitive team around him. LaMelo's absence also leaves an enormous hole in the Hornets' game plan for tonight. Without him, the offense loses its primary playmaker, its best passer, and its most explosive scorer. The Hornets' entire system revolves around Ball's ability to read defenses, manipulate defenders with unpredictable passes, and ignite fast breaks. Without his presence, the Hornets must rely on a combination of Terry Rozier, Brandon Miller, and the supporting cast to carry the offensive load. While Rozier can score and Miller is developing rapidly, neither offers the dynamic playmaking that LaMelo brings. The Bulls, who already play with strong defensive discipline, will likely exploit this weakness early and often. Another major concern among fans is the uncertainty surrounding Ball's exact timeline for return. The Hornets have not offered a precise date, giving only vague updates about ongoing evaluation and day-to-day monitoring. While this is a standard approach for most NBA teams, uncertainty often fuels anxiety, especially for a franchise that desperately needs stability. Every missed game raises questions. Is the ankle responding slower than expected? Did imaging reveal something new? Is the team hiding a more serious issue? While none of that is confirmed, the lack of clarity keeps supporters on edge. Tonight's game against the Chicago Bulls highlights just how much Charlotte depends on LaMelo, not only for scoring, but for identity. He makes the Hornets fun to watch. He gives teammates confidence. He elevates the pace, energizes the crowd, and changes the geometry of the floor with his creativity. When he's out, the Hornets often struggle to produce efficient offense and maintain momentum. A game that could have showcased Ball's duel with Bulls star Zach LaVine and emerging guard Kobe White instead becomes another reminder of how quickly injuries can rob fans of great matchups. For the Hornets coaching staff, the challenge now becomes maximizing what they have available. Expect the offense to feature more pick-and-roll sets for Rozier, more isolation looks for Brandon Miller, and heavier responsibilities for veterans like Gordon Hayward. The bench will need to step up as well, especially players like Nick Smith Jr. and PJ Washington, who will be asked to help keep the offense afloat. Defensively, Charlotte must play disciplined basketball, because without LaMelo's offensive boost, they cannot afford to let the Bulls rack up easy scoring runs. Zooming out, LaMelo's ongoing absence also influences the Hornets' broader organizational direction. Charlotte entered the season hoping to build momentum, develop their young core, and evaluate how their roster fits around LaMelo. But injuries make that nearly impossible. It's hard to judge chemistry when your best player isn't on the floor. It's hard to project long-term roster decisions when you can't see the team at full strength. And most of all, it's hard to build confidence when the franchise star continues to face physical setbacks. Still, despite the lingering concerns, the Hornets remain hopeful. They understand that the season is long, and rushing LaMelo back would be reckless. The team wants him healthy not just for a single game, but for the entire future of the franchise. If taking an extra week or two now avoids another multi-month injury later, then it's the right move, even if it means short-term frustration for fans. As the Hornets prepare to face the Bulls tonight, the reality is clear: the team must find ways to stay competitive without their brightest star. LaMelo Ball is the heartbeat of this franchise, and until he returns, the Hornets will continue to face an uphill battle. The major concerns surrounding his long-term health aren't going away anytime soon, but Charlotte hopes this cautious approach will lead to a stronger, healthier, and more durable LaMelo in the months ahead. For now, the Hornets must adapt, the fans must stay patient, and the NBA world will continue watching closely. When will LaMelo return? Is this just precaution, or a sign of something deeper? Those questions hover over tonight's matchup, adding tension and uncertainty to what should have been a marquee showdown. Only time will reveal the next chapter in LaMelo Ball's season, but one thing is certain: the Hornets need him back, and they need him healthy.